Aloha, I'm Alana Kay, and this is Spirit of Maui. This is part 2 of Inquire Within, and I am here with Helen Kritzler, also known as Haiku Helen, and Lorraine Berry. And in the first part, we talked about how we came into our practice as professional intuitives and palm readers, as they are, and mediums, whatever we do. And we are talking, and we talked a little bit about the benefits to developing your own intuition and why it's part of your arsenal as a human being, and how it's useful in solving problems and guiding you, and also just making your life smoother because you're in the right place at the right time. So we're going to be talking in this segment about how we all have different ideas of how we feel like we would want to relate to somebody, how to develop it for yourself, and even to develop the gift if you feel that you've been placed on this earth to help other people with it. But at the very least, you want to use it for your own life, because like I said, it is part of your arsenal as a human, even though society may not have taught you that, and it is deeply connected to your creative center. Your intuitive center, your instinctive center, and your creative center are all the same thing. So I have my own opinions about how to teach people and guide people, and everybody's different. But in general, I think we all have kind of like what we tell people. If somebody said, well, I really want to develop my own intuition, what would you tell them? What would you begin with? Not knowing specifically who we're talking to.
Okay, all right. I don't actually get that question very often, and I think that's why we're here, is because that's really the whole point of being on this planet. And if we're watching right now, things are just exploding because it's time. We cannot stay unconscious anymore. And so we've sort of had early kickstart, the three of us, and so people sometimes come to us. And what I would tell somebody who is asking to develop their intuition, just that they ask the question, I know that they will. That's the first step, because the universe will open to you, your heart will open to you, whatever words you use. And that's why there's different kinds of people and psychics and everything, because we're all made a little bit differently, communicate a little differently. And somebody may be clairvoyant, can really see, things that are going to happen. Somebody just feels like, oh, I hear things, or they just feel it. There's all kinds of ways, and so you have to develop it for yourself. And the number one thing is, I would say, listen. Now this is going to be paradoxical. Listen to your own intuition when you're trying to develop your intuition, because you do have it. And it's like at one point in my life when I lost a lot of physical props in my life, I was just about healing my own life, and I knew that I wanted to develop my gifts. I don't know how, I didn't think of it that way, it just happened. And all of a sudden, all these different groups tried to get me in. Oh, learn psychic stuff with us, and I felt uncomfortable, and I felt like they wanted money, and they were very gifted. But and then I went to this free reading. This lady brought me to this lady, and all of a sudden she said, this woman knows what she's talking about. She felt right to me. She was my teacher, not my guru. You never sell your 7th chakra. That's what having a guru is.
I've heard that kind
you
of stuff.
Listen to them like anything else, but she felt right to me. And then I learned meditation classes through her, grounding classes, clairvoyant training classes, probably 15 different kinds of classes. And so but I did the work, and that's what you have to do. And so for you can put it out there. There was a place in the San Francisco Bay Area called the East West Bookstore. I read some of those shelves one into the other. I just read and read and read to learn everything I could, self-help, just so that I understood myself and understood other people. The Dance of Anger was one beautiful book I read, and breaking out of these patterns that we're used to with other people. So there's so much out there. It's infinite, but ask to be guided to the right person, the right place. You do not want to come from the astral plane, which is where all this manipulation and stuff happens. It's like you want to come from that which made all of us. It's like that. I call it the golden white light, I guess, and many names for it. And then start and just take it 1 second, one moment, one delicious hour and day at a time, because you are coming home. That's what it feels like. And when you learn to meditate, it doesn't happen overnight. I used to be in a very mental profession, and I lived in my head and my body was dying. So to climb back into my body, I had to work at it for probably a couple years. I mean, now I teach other people to do it, but you know, I had to go hardcore. So it's like, again, there's some people are very, very good at what they do. Some people who you just don't want, you may end up losing $1,000 and get nothing for it. So be very, very careful. You will make mistakes. And that's fantastic. You're going to learn. And you're going to learn some things, like some of your vulnerabilities out of that. And that's a gift. It's all a gift. And just get up each day and just come home.
That's really good. I like that. I like everything you said. And then we'll just keep adding to that, like it with improv. Yes, and? Yes, and. So I just wanted to add to a few things that you said. The one thing I really like that you said that I would add to that is if you're going to go on this adventure of learning how to tune in, and whatever that means to you, you know, knowing what it feels like to be in your center and know that you're being guided, whether you should go to an event or not, whether you should trade in the car or not, or, you know, should I get involved with these people or not, or should I, you know, even just take the dog out now. It gets down to that, but you do have to go through trial and error and be willing. I think that's why a lot of people are probably afraid, is they don't want to make mistakes. Because you're doing this so that your life is better, but it's just like anything else you learn. Like riding a bike, you're going to fall down, you're going to scuff up that knee. It's the same thing. That you're going to make mistakes, that if you believe they're mistakes, like I said, that's really up for interpretation. So if you're going to practice intuition, it's going to be you're definitely going to practice. And I notice a lot of people, when they embark on a path of intuition, they'll get lost. And that's what happened to me too. Now all of a sudden I'm invited somewhere and it's at night and I get lost. I have no idea where I am. Remember the days before GPS? And a lot of people would call me on my show, or you know, they'd say that this happened to them. I'm like, your higher self is trying to teach you how to be intuitive. And actually, as I had developed it through many years, I did get lost in Milwaukee when I was visiting my daughter, which is where I grew up, but I ended up on this dead-end road, and my phone didn't have any connection, so I had no GPS, and I did, and I trusted. And I always tell people, what you want to get down to, if you start to overanalyze, you're in your head. You got to know the difference to use intuition. Once you start analyzing and trying to think too much, I call that jumping the tracks. You're not aligned with your intuitive center. It's either, I always say it's either yes, no, stay, or go. Because if your intuition is trying to lead you either to a person that's going to be beneficial in your life, or on your life path, you're gonna, it's gonna be step by step. Turn left, turn right, turn left. And I gotta say, my most recent one was I wanted to talk to Nalus in South Maui about doing a comedy event there with all the different groups. And I thought about it all day. I gotta call Nalus, I gotta go to Nalus. And it was just, I wasn't thinking heavy duty, but then I decided to go get shrimp from Safeway. And what I've learned is, when I have an impulse to do something, just do it. And I don't question, I don't even know necessarily that it's leading me somewhere. So right by the seafood is the owner of Nalus. So right away I had the conversation. He says yes. He says call my secretary to get it set up. And that's why I'm talking about why it can make life easier, make your path smoother. I learned that a while ago. You head out to run errands, and if you're following your instinctive center, it goes really smooth. I've even had my rent check in my hand and run into my landlord because I used to have to drive to Waihu to give it to her, and here she was at Costco, and that's when I first figured out, oh, you use it for everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so you go ahead.
I just have to say one thing, which is, there was a way that I started seeing things a little differently. I mean, it's the same thing, but the other day, just the other day, because it's a sense of like there's two different brains that we have. We have this brain, you know, that we think and we learn, and you know, that kind of genius, smart
That
school.
adds 4 + 4.
and it's fast. It's a fast brain. But this intuitive brain, which is like when you do Tai Chi or hypnotism, it's a slower brain. It can come up with things.
You have to slow down your brain cycles.
Yeah, so it's coming in from a kind of different place.
Coming in from here.
Like it's sort of like, okay, I'm pulled to go over there. I don't know why, but it doesn't always speak. Sometimes it speaks to us, and sometimes it doesn't.
Just an instinct.
But it's sort of like, and in my life, I've kind of followed that without knowing. You know, like the Tao. We might say it's the Tao that's kind of pulling us, and you end up in places. You end up in Hawaii. How did I move here?
Sure.
How did I get this house? How did I get that
Sometimes
boyfriend?
when you trace it back, you go, a million things had to happen.
It wasn't a decision that came from this thinking brain. It was this other thing, and so sometimes we don't know when we're being called.
That's what's happening.
So, but as far as helping people get to that intuitive place, sometimes I might say, what is it you had fun with when you were a kid? Did you enjoy jumping? Did you enjoy drawing? Like that place that you enjoyed without thinking about it is who you are inside.
Perfect.
And that's the place I think that's
why
connecting.
I call it. That's why a lot of times I call it your instinctive center.
Yeah.
When you were innocent like a child, and I even say that in I think a couple of my books. I say, oh, by the way, when you speaking of books, I have a book called Wishing on Your Own Star, which is about clearing the stuff and getting to your true self. And there's a lot of coaching in there. They're all on my website, alannak.com. Do you have a website?
Yeah, haikuhelen.com.
haikuhelen.com?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you don't have a website?
I do not. I try to conserve my energy because I have so many pulls on it, and like I say, people follow
anyway,
me.
they're not, people aren't looking at websites anymore.
Actually, my website gets a lot of traffic. High rating. I put a lot of activities on my website.
I haven't paid enough money for them.
So, so I have some books that'll guide you through this process too, and also Intuitive Development for a Soul-Centered Life. So those are 2 books that are really good for getting down to your real self and your instinctive self. But the one I like to say is, when was the last time you just went out and went barefoot on the grass, or sat on the grass, or sat on the floor and felt the carpet fibers? Because we're so in our, and I've been working on this lately too, is you wake up and I don't do this anymore, but until months ago, get up, start to get into your list of things to do. You kind of know the day before, this is what I'm doing. And so I'm really slowing that down, like you said, your slower self. So that's what I would say. I start the day always on the beach. Sometimes there isn't enough time, but most of the time there is. I'll make sure there is time with my feet in the sand. I gotta say, if it's not the sand on the beach, though, I promise you, it's gonna be bare grass. And what that does is it aligns you with that electrical earth energy, and I like to guide people to see the movie. It's the Earthing movie. It's on Netflix. They talk about that, and they've discovered the health benefits to grounding yourself. And I know Lorraine mentions grounding a lot of times, and you were mentioning, the childlike self. Those are all things, that's what ties you to your intuition. And to add to that, we were discussing this before the show. I don't know if I brought it up in the last one. Yeah, I think I did a little bit, where it's, if your creative center is the same as your instinctive center, and it's also your feeling center. So we're going to get to that. But your instinctive center is the same as your creative center. So if you shut down your creative center, if you're feeling like drawing a picture or just playing like a child or just doing something like that, you're shutting down your instinctive center, because it's all the same thing. So I think you're saying it in a different way. That's what I love that about people. It's like a box of chocolates. You're saying the same thing. I'm just saying it in a different way. You don't want to shut down. So if you feel that there's some creative endeavors you want to do, I don't care if it's gluing a cotton ball to a paper clip. Do it. And you don't have to get paid for it, please. I have been doing creative gifts, whether it be singing. I'm sure you guys have done a lot of things too. We used to be in choirs. I've always been in a choir, and I've worked with bands. please do it even if nobody's watching, even if you're not making money, because that's you. And the more you engage with you, the more sovereign energetically you become. And then the world, the chaos in the world and the hurricane does not affect you as much. So to me, it's always about going, like you said, home, or being like a child, is anchoring yourself in your own soul and anchoring yourself to the electrical connection of earth. That's what grounding is. It doesn't sound like much fun, but it's an electrical term.
Wonderful feeling.
Yeah, to be all in your body. And the other thing that I've been working on, when I used to smoke, I quit smoking 14 years ago, it was so much easier to be connected because you're breathing all the time. You're breathing this full breath. I had to relearn how to breathe. I still work on it. Everybody needs to be reminded to breathe. And anytime you start really getting in your head, for me, there's two things that get me back in my center if I wander off into the hinterlands. Is breathing. Take full body breaths, getting the bare feet on the ground. Water really helps, and also love. Love is what the creative force is made of. And if we remove ourselves from our breath, we remove ourselves from love, we get up here, we encounter the astral planes. So, and that's not a good place to be.
I just want to add something
Yeah.
to what you were saying, that people sometimes think they're not creative. Oh,
I know.
Can't. So, you know, they
Yes.
think, oh, I can't draw because when they were in second grade, somebody drew, you know, or I can't sing. The fact of the matter is we have no idea what our potential is unless we try it.
You have
I
to
mean,
spend time
I couldn't
with it.
spell as a kid, so I thought I can't write.
Right.
You know, but then I joined this group, you know, because my brother died and I was like in so much pain. It helped him. And then I discovered that I could tell a story. I had no idea.
Thanks for
I had
sharing
no
that.
idea. So you really have to experiment.
You do, and you have to learn how it works for you. Like I write books, and other people have to. They have their own way of approaching it. Whether it's, we're having a golden moment here.
Oh, it's like, no, we're listening.
Oh.
Totally.
I didn't want to
totally.
interfere.
No.
We have a sideshow. But
It's like so important. It's like
you don't know until you go into it. And like, I say that all the time. People say, oh, you're so gifted. Oh, you have all these talents. Well, of course you're happy. I'm like, no, everybody. It's just that I've spent time with it. Now, the other thing is that as many people, were driven away from all of it when I was younger. My family and my soul said to me just recently, it was the best way for me to hear it, they didn't believe in your dreams because they didn't believe in their own. And so they shot down my dreams, they shot down everything. And so as an adult, there was a lot of work involved in getting that back, getting those layers of all that negativity off of me. It was always there, but I was shrunk down to just this little ball of light, and so you got to have the intention to want to bring it back. Like I had the big opening in the 90s. It couldn't be held down anymore. That's why the cover was ready to blow off. That's the headache,
Yeah.
So all of our physical symptoms are from just the pressure of the energy not flowing. And when you're allowing it to flow and you're engaging in it, your body just feels fluid and loose and good, and then you heal. And
yeah.
I know I kind of took it away, but
Oh no, it's okay. Yeah.
yeah, and I think one of the reasons the three of us enjoy each other so much is we approach each other with that unconditional love and create a space. You can just be you, and that actually works in improv too, having completely open. And that's what living an intuitive life is too. It's basically improv. It's where.
I just want to add, and knowing that we all have a similar soul.
I think it's our soul
inside.
that's the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at her and I love her. I mean, how can you not love her?
Yeah. One of my favorite animals is an elephant, and I just want to hug, and the love and the wisdom that comes out. And I'm sorry, I just feel, well, it's just divine. I feel that when I'm with you, and
You feel you feel elephant energy.
I'm an animal person.
Yeah, I know,
Just give me, just put me with.
Yeah, yeah. I would say that as far as yeah, so we seem to be cut of the same soul cloth, but we all had completely different upbringings and different experiences in life. And then when you're open to other people, then it can just flow, and we just look at the beauty inside of everybody, and it's there in everybody, like you said. You know, it's really, and like Lorraine said, that it is time. I see the confusion that's going on. People are going, "What's happening to me?" I see people online, just thousands of people. Oh my God, I can't get out of bed. It's so crazy. My head hurts, and I feel sick all the time, and I'm dizzy, and it's like, oh, because the energy of the planet is rising, and it's trying to get you to rise. It's not something we're supposed to be enduring, and a big part of it is intuition, and that's, as you can tell by our discussion, that's tied to so many different things. If you leave that part of our existence out, you're short-circuiting all kinds of stuff, you know?
Well, your body tells you. Your body tells you everything. And if you're feeling bad and you're sick, and it's like it's telling you you're missing something, you're off. It's like energy is food. Yes. Food is a certain form of energy for our bodies. And whatever we put into our brains, our minds, is food.
Yes.
And that it's held in the body and it's reflected. So if you're thinking negative thoughts, you're filling yourself with negativity, energy. It's like tuning a radio station to an energy. So you want to tune it to a higher frequency. So when you start thinking positive thoughts, I mean, every situation has something that's negative about it and positive.
That's true.
When you start going, oh, well, I don't have to, if you're thinking the negative, you can't be thinking the positive at the same time. So what a waste of energy. And you feel better when you look at the positive side, and it starts to amplify it. And everybody starts doing that. We're not going to have anybody thinking the negative thoughts. I mean, that's the physics of it. And our Earth is kind of trying to figure that out right now. So it's like the way you look, the way you feel, it can change. It can change all the time, and you have the power to become. You have the power to become what you want to be and to make yourself feel the way you want to feel. And it's all about what you tune into.
What you tune into. And the mind, I've learned the mind is the switching station. So if your mind wants to go to, I'm going to let the world happen to me, or I am going to let my soul happen to me and guide me and be who I identify with. So Helen, any closing words?
Well, I just think we're in a very incredible moment in time right now. And really choosing to say, being positive in the sense that, you know, when the forest burns down, the little trees get a chance to grow. And so in some way, all of the terrible things that we know that are going on, it also is leaving room for new things to come up.
It is.
Because I can't do very much about what's going on over there right now. But there's an opening for us to reinvent ourselves, or whatever that word is, or reclaim ourselves,
rebirth.
I mean, I'm just rejuvenating, you know, and I'm 82.
That's amazing. I know it's never too late. I gotta confirm that for you. No, it never is.
It's sort of like you can rejuvenate at any time in life. A lot of it has to do with what we believe. If we don't believe something,
what you believe,
you know, and it's work to believe. You know, it's work to
you
trust
have to remind yourself all
that
the time.
there's love. It takes work. You know, I have to look. I just know that deep inside, even when I'm depressed, there is some joy in there.
Yes.
Even if everything is horrible.
If you're alive, there's still some of that in there.
So to connect that joy in there and to hold on to that, you know. And I know when Lahaina happened, I mean, you know, I got so depressed.
And that we all felt that.
Yeah,
man.
But on the other hand, we all got closer together because our hearts opened up so much.
And the world.
Yeah. And, you know, and we need that love. We need community now more than ever.
Yeah.
So
I've mentioned that a few times on a lot of my shows, is that I feel like that's what that was showing us is, okay, it was torn down and we went through the mourning, and now as we build up, how do we work together?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and and it's the same thing with the world. The old systems are being torn down, and I know it's scary, especially if people were dependent on the old systems. But that is what's happening. We knew this was going to happen. I didn't know it was going to happen now. I didn't know when, but I did know that. I did know that from the time I came into this life, that we're going to move into heaven on earth. So as the spiritual awakening happened to myself and other people, I was not surprised at all. But that is what's happening, is that a better world is being born. And I've questioned the age thing too sometimes. Like, I'm like, all these other people I know, their house is paid off, and they're they're all retiring, but they look pretty bored. So I'm like, well, here I am trying to start all this improv and all this stuff and doing this show. But that's what I figured out. Yeah, we're always here for a reason, and there's always a moment to be alive. And yeah. So it was lovely having you. This was I love it, very heartwarming conversation. And let's take our intuitive selves out into the world. We're right in the heart of Kahului, and I got to go to Costco and skip my So anyway, so thank you for joining us on Spirit of Maui Inquire Within. And thank you so much to our technical director, Emanon, for joining us today. And we'll see you on the next episode of Spirit of Maui. Aloha.